What's going on, everybody? Kyle Powers here with Haven Real Estate Group at eXp Realty. K-State grad, turned contractor, turned real estate agent, and investor. I have a very special treat for you guys today. We have another episode of Local Legends of the Flint Hills, where business meets community. I've got Kinnen Hawes here with me. He is the owner and founder of Kansas Handyman, and he's joined me here today. And Kinnen, thank you, man. I appreciate you jumping in here with me today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course, man. Of course. So, Kinnen, I always like to kind of start right into the stuff here. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me a little bit about your family, and let's just kind of go with that end of it. So,
okay. My name's Kinnen. I grew up as an Army brat. That I'm the oldest, and so that shaped a lot of how I see the world. I'm a little bit of a protector. I'm very protective of my family. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That's also a big part of my identity. And I have been married for just over 7 years. We've got 3 just spitfire kids. 2 girls and a boy. The oldest will be 5 this next week. We've got a 3-year-old and a 1.5-year-old. And they are my greatest source of joy. I tell everybody my happiest moments are when I'm dancing with my kids.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. Family's a big one. I mean, I know that about you just kind of from getting to know you over the last couple of years and stuff. I know that's always a really high priority for you, which is a lot of respect about that. So I appreciate that end of it. Yeah, man. So that's awesome. So 3 kids, a wife of 7 years. That's fantastic. Tell me a little bit where you're from. I know you're military brat, so you're from all over the place. But tell me where you're from. Tell me how you met your wife. Kind of dive into that piece of it too. I just want to know that little bit of it there.
Absolutely. So again, my dad joined the Army when I was 8, right after September 11th. That kind of started our journey. We lived a little bit of everywhere. The 3 places that I call home is we were in Alaska for 5 years when I was a teenager. We were here in Chapman, Kansas. That's where I graduated from. We were there my sophomore through senior year. And then my mom's family is from Utah, from northern Utah. And so that's where I ended up after graduation. My wife actually went to my mom's daycare before my dad joined the Army. And so we were in each other's scrapbooks. I never really had an inkling of anything, but whenever we would go back to see my grandparents, she was in the same congregation as my grandma. And so we had that connection, we knew each other, and so we were friends growing up. My junior year, we were out in Utah. My dad was deployed, my mom was pregnant, and so we were out there for the extra support. And we got to know each other a little bit better. And then after I graduated, was out there, got to know each other a little bit better. And just these little interactions, over time I saw a little glimpse of maybe. And then one day we had gotten together and hung out, and we were texting late one night, and she just kind of professed her love to me. And I responded with, well, I've seen glimpses of maybe. She had a boyfriend at the time. I was in the process of breaking up with a boyfriend at the time.
That's specified.
And yeah. But I said, I don't want to get in the way of anything. And she's like, well, it's already decided. This is where I'm going. And I said, you know what? I would love to see where this goes. And it has gone a long way, and I cannot imagine a better wife. Starting a business takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of energy, and it doesn't just put a lot of stress on the owner, as you know. It puts a lot of stress on the wife, who has to pick up everything else when you're working long hours to build something beyond yourself. Yeah. And I can't imagine doing it with anyone better.
Dude, that's perfect. And that's a big piece of it too, so I totally understand that. Trust me, and we'll make sure your wife sees this video too.
Good,
so,
good.
But no, let's transition right into that, right? So talk to me a little bit about Kansas Handyman. You know, what you do, not more importantly, but I want to know where the name came from first. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's start with that one. And then tell me a little bit about what you do, what you like doing, what you specialize in, those kinds of things. Let's kind of dive into that and what that really becomes.
Okay. So I have a business partner. His name is Dylan. I tell everybody he's my cousin. In reality, he married my cousin. So I met him about 4 years ago now is when I got to know him. And when I got to know him, we clicked like that. I went out to the car after our conversation. We talked for an hour and a half, kind of in the middle of us leaving, them showing up. Went out to the car and I said, babe, I don't know how, but we're going into business together. Well, we lived in Kansas at the time. They lived in Idaho. So there wasn't really a way to make this happen. About 3 months later, they hit us up. They said, hey, we've been doing some praying. We're moving out to Kansas. And at that moment, he told me that he had the same conversation with his wife when they went inside, that I don't know how, I don't know when, but we are going into business together. It's just, we both knew. It was love at first sight. We were talking about what business is to do, and when we decided on handyman business, it's the skill that I have and that he's developed very, very well and picked up on. He knows the business side very well. We were figuring out what we wanted to call it, and just kind of on a joke, he put KH, Kinnen Hawes, my initials, for throwing together a business card to throw together ideas, and then he just typed out Kansas Handyman. And he's like, hey, it matches your initials. That's perfect. And unbeknownst to us, it was free. The name was available, and so we were like, awesome. You know what? There's no better name than Kansas Handyman for us here in Manhattan.
I love it. So it just kind of became what it is. So I like it. All right. So tell me a little bit then. So obviously Dylan does the business side. You do kind of the handyman side of that piece of it. But talk to me a little bit about what you guys, I'm not going to say specialize, because I know I've seen your work and you pretty much do just about anything and willing to do just about anything. Even though you ditch me sometimes on floors, but hey, we'll give you on that end of it. But no, tell me a little bit about what you guys like doing, what you specialize, what you are able to do, and things like that, right?
Awesome.
Let's dive into that.
Yeah, so we, like he said, we do a little bit of everything. Things we've done this week, door adjustments, we've painted gutters, we've installed windows, I really like hanging TVs and doing the honey-do list that people just find monotonous, and they have words. I really like doing the honey-do list where it's a little thing, but because time has gone on, there's so much emotion built up that it feels like this big of a thing. For us, it's this big of a thing, and we'd love to come help.
Yeah. I think that's probably one of when I first met Kinnen, that was one of the first things that I really enjoyed about what he did, because you had, at the time, I don't know if you still run this special or not, but you had a special going of, I don't even remember what it was. I think it was around Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
And it was like, for X amount of hours, you get Kinnen to really go in and do the honey-do list, right? And changing out light switches, changing out light bulbs sometimes. I mean, whatever that looks like, right? And I think that was one of the neat things that I really like, because I have those honey-do lists too. It's just, they just stack up for me. So eventually I get a little crazy with it, but that's kind of the neat thing with it, right? So I will say that's one of the neat things that I liked about your business and what you did when you initially came in with everything, and that's just kind of diving into that side of it, right? And just doing the things that, they're not necessarily always big projects. They're always the big, like you said, they stack up, right? They start to get that way. So, okay, cool. So tell me a little bit about what you like doing. Let's go that route.
Okay. So the things that I really like doing is I like working on decks. Not necessarily a full rebuild, but when you need a new foot replaced, because little things like that happen all the time. Again, I really like hanging TVs. I like doing light fixtures. That's something that I very much enjoy. Before this, I was working on cop cars and the electrical side. It just makes sense in my brain. We're limited on what we're able to do, but I enjoy that. I'll tell you one thing I don't do is plumbing, and I've told Kyle this before. We don't do plumbing. Me and plumbing don't get along. There's too much liability in it for us. There's people that can do it better and cheaper than we can, so we send you their way.
So call them up is what he's saying.
Yes.
No, that's awesome, man. And I think that's one of the things that I've, I don't even know how long we've known each other now, but I think that's one of the things that I really enjoy about you in particular is that you're not afraid to say that, you know what, I don't know how to do this, or I don't know what this is. And I know for some of you, you're like, well, that may not be a good thing, but what I'll say to that is, it is a good thing for the simple fact of knowing your boundaries. You're willing to push them. I will say that when you do show up. Inside thing. But anyway, you're willing to push them and learn and become better at those things. But you also know that, you can't do plumbing. You don't do plumbing. Mm-hmm. Not that you can't. You probably just don't do it because, again, you know that it isn't always the best, right?
I'll do my own. I don't do it for other people. Yeah.
Right. And that's the way it is, right? And I think that's very important with what you have there. So I think that's a big piece for me anyway, about all that stuff. The other thing I'm going to talk a little bit, I'm going to tote on Kinnen here a little bit, but just the professionalism that you guys bring to a project is bar none, and it is one of the top notch for anybody, right? There's not a lot of handymen here in Manhattan, right? But when you do get them, it's a guy that shows up in broken down truck and doesn't really communicate well, and it's just a lot of different, like, oh yeah, I can. Sure, I can do that plumbing. I can do that little stuff. I can do that. And next thing you know, you've got somebody who isn't, qualified, isn't necessarily doing that stuff. It's the guy the person that says yes all the time that doesn't necessarily know what they're doing. And I think that's one of the things that I do appreciate, and one of the things I do like about what you guys do here is the professionalism, and two, knowing your boundaries. And I think that's a big thing for me, right? And again, I've used him quite a bit on a lot of the deals and a lot of the things that we have here, and it's always a great opportunity, always reasonably priced, and always does an excellent job. So I guess I don't want to just take over your interview on that end of it, but I wanted to at least give my appreciation and my 2 cents on that end of it too, right?
Absolutely.
So
thank you.
But yeah, so that's one piece of it, right? So tell me, okay, so we talked about what you specialize in, what you like, all that kind of stuff, a little bit about what you don't like. Is there anything else in particular that you want to add to that, right? Cop cars and doing electrical work on that, that's not something I knew you guys did. So
when we first started, again, we were figuring out our stride, figuring out what all we do. I did a little bit of car maintenance. I did a little bit of subwoofers, those kind of fun things that I enjoy doing. We've moved away from that into we just work on homes for the most part. But a couple other things that we do flooring, we do trim. The thing that you'll find is Handyman covers everything. And a lot of times it's, hey, we just need this much of this much bigger project fixed, or hey, we had this project done and now we need just the finishing touches done, or we started a project, we got in over our heads, can you come look at this and help us with this and give us some ideas. We've done projects where we come in, do part of it, and somebody comes in and does tiling, and then we come and finish up afterwards, those kind of things. We love to help. That's one of my favorite things is I love showing people and teaching people the smaller things that they can do after we leave when they run into it. And then, hey, once you get to this point, give us a call. We'll come help. You might be a little over your head for that one.
So there you go. He has said it himself. He can do just about anything that you need. So whatever that list is, give it to him and say, hey, what can you do and what can't you do? Right?
Absolutely. We've found that it's better to let people know, because we'll show up to a project and it's something that we haven't done, but it relates to this, and this that we have done. And it just takes a little bit of problem solving. When you're looking at so much that could go wrong in a house or needs to be done in a house,
sure,
there's a lot of things, and a lot of the time it's not something that we've done, but we like to be upfront about it.
Sure. And again, I can't harp on that enough. I mean, he is very upfront about it, and I like that about you guys. So, okay, great. So walk me through the process real quick, and then just kind of tell me, like, okay, say I want to reach out to you. What does your process look like, right? From phone call to finished product. What does that look like, and what does that, just so that our viewers kind of know kind of what that looks like for them, what they can expect when they call, email, get a hold of you, whatever that is.
Absolutely. So when you reach out to us, we try to be there within a few days and get a grasp on what you're hoping to accomplish. and then get you an estimate in just another few days. So within a week, you kind of know what you're looking at. We'll find out timeline, and then our goal is to stay under 2 weeks lead time. That's one of our big things, because on the projects that we're working on, again, we're smaller scale things. People don't want to wait 3 weeks. They don't want to wait 3 months. And so that's one of our big goals. After we get your estimate, we ask for half up front to cover materials and those kind of costs.
Makes
and
sense.
then half once it's completed. We don't do an hourly rate for the most part, because we've found that people are happy when they can say, okay, we're looking at this much. And the only time that we end up having to renegotiate a price is if we open up a wall and there's termites, or there's wood rot, or those kind of things. And at that point, we'll stop, we'll back up, we'll come talk to you, and we'll figure out a game plan from there on out.
Perfect. Do you want to come back to what you were talking about?
Yes. We've talked to quite a few handyman companies that have accidentally become construction companies. It's a very, very easy thing, and we've found ourselves taking on a little bit bigger projects. And one of our big things that we've had to work at, which we didn't expect, is staying in the smaller projects, because one of the goals of our company is to give other people the opportunity to use their handyman skills.
Sure.
Because there's a lot of people that jack of all trades, master of none,
Yep.
but better than a master of one, that they're those types of people that would thrive like we've thrived in this kind of situation. So we're hoping to give them that pedestal to stand on.
That's awesome. I love that. Back to helping people.
Exactly.
Right? I think that's the cool thing about it. So, okay, great. Well, I don't want to go too much longer with you here, because I know you got something else to go to, but for everyone watching and everything that way, how do we get a hold of you? What's your phone number? What's the best way to contact you? How do we get a hold of you? Those kinds of things. Where can they follow you? Those things. So, give me that.
Absolutely. Easiest place to find us is on Facebook, Kansas Handyman. You'll see our logo with antlers in the background. That's how you can recognize us. My phone number is 435-994-8273. You can reach out to me, or you can message us. Another good way to get in touch with us is reaching out to either myself or my cousin that I mentioned, Kinnen at kansashandymanllc.com, or Dylan at kansashandymanllc.com.
Perfect. So, social media, phone calls, or emails, he's willing to get a hold of you guys, or willing to have you get a hold of him. So, Kinnen, man, I appreciate it. Again, thank you for jumping in here today. I do appreciate you taking the time out today. If you guys do enjoy this content, and if you do have any other questions or anything for Kinnen or myself, put it in the comments below. Love to hear from you. If you do enjoy this content, please go and hit that subscribe button. Go and hit that little bell so you get notified of any future content. Give us that like, because it does help us grow the channel. And please, I implore you to, if you have somebody or if you know somebody that needs Kinnen's help, right? Share this video with them. Get in touch with Kinnen. Get in touch with Dylan. Get in touch with these guys, because they do an excellent job. So I cannot say that enough. But again, thank you so much for watching. Next week, be on the lookout for another video. Again, this is Local Legends of the Flint Hills, where business meets community. Again, thank you so much, you guys, for watching. I appreciate it, and we'll see you next week.